Alright, what's going on everybody? So I came to this spot here, which is an empty parking spot, just to practice some slow speeds. And I decided that I'm going to record a video for some of you guys that want to start riding a motorcycle. And the first episode is basically just going to be teaching the basics for people that have never gotten into a motorcycle, have no idea what they're doing. Okay, so if you know the basic controls of a motorcycle, you can basically skip this video. Uh, but before you even begin, I would really recommend that you schedule a motorcycle safety course, uh, like class, so you can learn the basics there. This video is mainly just to give you an idea of what you're gonna see in that course, okay? But the course is extremely helpful. They give you a lot of safety information and things that you would not think about if you hadn't taken the course. I did, and it gave me a ton of confidence to start riding. Okay, all right. So let's begin. First thing that you're gonna see that you need to know are the controls, which is gonna be the shift lever. Okay, first gear is usually gonna be down. You press down on this lever, and you're gonna get to first gear. And then you hold the clutch and you press up, you're gonna go to second, third, and fourth gear. Okay, so every time you need to switch gear, you have to press the clutch. That includes first gear too, okay? And this is the clutch. So clutch cuts the power to the engine. So whenever you need to shift gear, press the clutch, press the gear down, and you're gonna get into gear. Okay? Brake is going to be on your right side, your right hand, that lever there, just like on a bicycle. And you're going to have your second brake, which is about 30% of the stopping power, which is going to be your right foot. Okay, so those are the basic controls. Of course, you got to learn how to turn on the motorcycle. Each motorcycle has usually a key around here. This motorcycle is keyless. And then you press the power button here to turn it on. You have your turn signals and your horn. Okay, those are basically the main controls of a motorcycle. And let's get to it. Okay, so when you have your motorcycle on, not every motorcycle is going to have a gear indicator, but most of the newer ones, they do have it. So as you can see here, my motorcycle is on first gear and the kickstand is down. With this motorcycle, while it's in first gear, you can't turn it on. Well, actually, you can't turn it on at all if the kickstand is down. So I would have to sit on the motorcycle, put the kickstand up, and then turn on the motorcycle. Okay. Actually, I can't turn it on if I have it on neutral. Sorry about that. I can't turn it on if I have it on neutral. But on first gear, as soon as I put it on first gear and I have the kickstand down, the motorcycle is going to shut off. It's going to turn off completely. Okay. So basically, let's get to neutral. So to get to neutral, you press the clutch lever, and then you're gonna shift up a bit. But it went to second. You see. So neutral is between 1 and 2. So 1 is down, 2 is up. So neutral is a small click in between, so I gotta do a small click down because I was in second. Now I'm a neutral, okay? And that's basically, so like when you're shifting gears, well, when you're first taking off, you gotta put your motorcycle in first gear first. So you press, well, you turn on the motorcycle, of course, you sit on it, and you press the lever, the clutch lever, and you're gonna put your foot down, and you're gonna press it down. That's gonna put it on first gear. Okay, so if the motorcycle was on and I was sitting on it, I can't just release the clutch lever. Okay, so I gotta keep holding that so the motorcycle doesn't die. So second thing, now that you know how to put to first gear, so to take off, after you put your motorcycle on first gear, you're gonna hold the clutch, you keep holding the clutch, right? You're gonna hit the throttle a little bit, just keep a steady throttle, and then you're gonna let go of the clutch slowly until you find a friction zone, okay? Which is gonna be when the motorcycle starts moving. So you're gonna feel that, and I'm gonna sit on the motorcycle now and give you guys a better idea. Okay, so motorcycle is on. I put it on neutral. I put the kickstand up, and then I press this button here to turn it on. And let's see, hopefully this guy is not gonna bug me. So basically, here's what you want to do, right? So you hold the clutch, and then you're gonna press with your right foot down, put it on first gear. Okay, now you're on first gear. So what you want to practice first is the clutch control. So you gotta go really slow, and you feel that the motorcycle wants to start moving. Okay, so if I don't hit the throttle, like right now I'm holding at the basically at the friction zone, right? So if I'm holding it at the friction zone, the motorcycle is going to move on its own. But if I let go of the clutch further, the motorcycle is going to stall. That's because there's not enough power on the engine. So you got to hit the throttle. So you use the throttle a little bit. Just give it a little bit of a rev. As you can see there, I'm idle at 1,000 RPM, right? So I'm gonna hit the throttle a little bit, and then as I let go of the clutch, I start moving. Okay, so that's basically how you take off. So you get to the friction zone. So that's the thing you're gonna practice first. So if you have a motorcycle, go to an empty parking spot and then just practice this, right? So you're gonna use the friction zone, and then you're gonna hit the throttle a little bit, right? So you get to like 2,000 RPM ish, and then you're basically moving, right? So I'm still holding the clutch on the friction zone. I don't want to let go here because the motorcycle is going to die because I'm not going fast enough. Okay, so if I want to let go of the clutch completely, I would have to start moving a little bit faster. So basically, like, I can start moving here. Now I should be okay to let go of the clutch, but it will be, if I slow down, the motorcycle is going to want to die. So you want to hold the clutch again, right? So you hold the clutch, and then you work on that friction zone. This is one of the hardest things about riding a motorcycle, is controlling that friction zone. Okay, so basically, whenever you're riding a motorcycle, it's easier to drop the motorcycle when you're going slow than when you're going fast. Okay, so when you're learning this like essential part, don't worry about switching to second gear or whatever. Okay, just worry about controlling the friction zone. So get a motorcycle that's light and low enough for you to put your foot down, and because that way you don't need to worry about balancing the bike when you get to a stop. You can just put both of your feet down. Okay, so let's do this again. So first thing, hold the clutch down, press the shift lever down to put it onto first. Once you get to first, you're gonna hold the throttle a little bit, and you're going to basically walk the motorcycle, right? So you let go of the clutch a little bit. I don't know if you guys are gonna be able to see that, but basically, like, I'm holding it here, right? So if I let go of the clutch a little bit, you'll see that the motorcycle starts moving. So once it starts moving, you do a little bit more throttle, and you walk the motorcycle. You don't need to go fast. Okay, 1-2 miles per hour, that's totally fine. So just so you can get used to that friction zone. Okay, so practice this. So do this at a parking lot with a friend. If you have a friend that has a motorcycle that will teach you how to ride, that would be ideal. If you don't know how to ride, you don't want to go to a parking lot on a motorcycle by yourself, because you don't know how to get there, right? You don't know how to ride the motorcycle. So basically, this is what you're going to learn first at the motorcycle safety course, which I highly, highly recommend that anyone that wants to ride a motorcycle do. Okay, so the first few things are going to be learning the controls, which we already went through. And then the main thing that you're going to have to master there is going to be the friction zone, because most of that course is going to be at a parking lot. So you're going to be doing slow speeds most of the time. Okay, and honestly, slow speeds is one of the hardest things about riding a motorcycle, which is why I'm here, to practice slow speeds, because it's still hard for me, and I've been riding for a couple of years. This is my 5th motorcycle. Okay, so here we go. So you get to that friction zone, hit the throttle a little bit, and you're gonna start walking the motorcycle. So initially, even if you don't hit the throttle, you get the friction zone, motorcycle is gonna move. Okay, it's gonna move. But if you want to start moving to get your foot off the ground, you're gonna have to give it a little bit of gas, and then as the motorcycle starts moving, you give it a little more gas so it doesn't want to stall. And you feel the engine, it starts like blipping a little bit when it wants to stall. Okay, so some motorcycles, they have a longer first gear, some have shorter gear. The smallest engine motorcycles, they will usually have shorter first gear. Okay, this motorcycle's first gear is usually between, this is an 800cc, and usually between 0 miles per hour up to like 20. I gotta switch to second gear. Okay, so most motorcycles first gear is usually just to take off, but you do have to practice that friction zone, because you don't want to get to a light and then you put it on first gear, you're trying to take off, and then you just let go of the clutch too fast, motorcycle dies on you, you end up dropping your motorcycle, or you get rear-ended. So you gotta practice that. That's one of the most important things on a motorcycle. So also, if you can't control the friction zone, you can't take off. Also, if you give it too much throttle, so one of the things that you gotta keep in mind, if you give it too much throttle, let's say you're taking off, you go like this, and then you let go of the clutch all at the same time. Most motorcycles will do a wheelie on you. Okay, if you let go of the clutch, like you do this. So I put it on neutral, but if you're on first gear, you hit the throttle too much, like too fast, like you go to like 6,000 RPM, and then you just pop the clutch open, it's gonna pop a wheelie, because basically you're cutting the power to the engine, and then you're giving it a lot of acceleration, and then all of a sudden you let go of the clutch, all of that power is going to kick in, motorcycle is going to try to lift the front wheel, and it depending on how big your motorcycle is, it's either going to loop on you or just leave you behind. You're going to be on the ground, your motorcycle is going to be like 10 feet ahead. Okay, so these are the basics. So let's do a quick step on how to switch to second gear. So I'm gonna go a little bit faster. So I'm gonna put to first gear, and then I'm gonna practice that clutch, right? So once I feel that the motorcycle starts moving, give it a little more gas and start letting go of the clutch a little bit more, and then more gas. So you basically want to control the gas and the clutch, and now we're moving. So to shift to second gear, basically what you want to do, always look, even if you're at a parking lot. Okay, so to shift to second gear, so let's say like for now I got to this slow turn, so I got to control the clutch again, right? So you got to control that friction zone. So for slow speeds, you gotta get that friction zone down. So to second gear, basically you want to go a little bit faster. You're gonna hold the clutch, and then you're gonna use the shift lever up, all the way up, and you're gonna see that it goes to second gear. Okay, so we're gonna go here, start moving, you're gonna press the clutch down, let go of the throttle, move to second gear, and then you can start letting go of the clutch slowly, and there you go, you're moving on second gear. Okay, so to shift down to first gear, you let go of the throttle, you press down on the shift lever, and then you can, depending on how fast you are, you can go off the clutch completely. But I would say most of the time you want to do a slow let go of the clutch when downshifting. because if not, you might get a lot of engine braking, which is gonna pull you forward. Okay, it's gonna push you forward on a motorcycle. All right, so these are the basic steps. Okay, first gear, you press the clutch down, shift down, you're on first gear. To take off, you're gonna find that friction zone with the left hand, right? You're gonna find that friction zone with the clutch, and then you're gonna start using the throttle, and you're gonna start moving. Once you start moving, get your feet up, because it's easier to control your balance when you have your feet on the motorcycle. Okay, so shifting to second gear, you're gonna hit the throttle, hold the clutch, let go of the throttle, shift up, and then you can let go of the clutch slowly, but I'm going too slow, so I'm going to shift back down. So let's do second gear again. So second gear, you're going to go first gear a little bit faster, hold the clutch, shift up with your feet under the shift lever, okay, and then you're going to let go of the throttle, and you're going to be on second gear. So once you're on second gear, you want to let go of the clutch slowly. Eventually you learn that you can just let go faster, but you got to know the motorcycle a little bit more, know the speeds. It's smoother if you just let go slowly, because then you don't mess up on the engine braking and all. So let's say like I'm doing like 13-14 miles per hour, I can switch to second gear and I let go slowly. There you go. I don't need to hold the clutch anymore. Okay, so usually for the second gear, you don't need to control the friction zone that much, right? You just want to let go of the clutch slowly, so you don't have to deal. Oh, there's a glass on the ground. So you want to let go slowly, so you don't have to deal with a bad engine braking, or you being at the wrong speed for that gear. So if you're at the wrong speed, let's say you're going too slow and you start feeling a lot of engine braking, you're just gonna hit the throttle a little bit more. Okay, so that's basically it. This is the first step. This is like part 1, and thank you guys for watching. Keep an eye out. I'll have the second video soon.